Hey everybody, it's Artosis here with the CasterMuse Narak Star League. This is a round of 8 match, meaning it is a best of 5 between Stork, the biggest name in this tournament, a Protoss god, and HyuK, a very aggressive, very strong Zerg player. He's been around for a long time as well, but not with as much success. Now, this is map number 1. It's on Eclipse. Should be a fun series. I mean, I would say that it is probably Stork favored. I generally don't think about Stork too much when it comes to PvZ, but honestly, my views on that are changing with him. Stork has really expanded his PvZ, I feel like. This new metagame that we're seeing kind of evolve, which it feels like it's on the back of Mini, who's figuring out how to take like every single risk, build everything as late as possible to really get as much out as quickly as he can tech-wise. I've seen Stork actually play a lot like that recently as well. He's been fantastic at just delaying cannons as long as possible, really fielding large armies and everything. And as I say that, he goes for a forge first, which we don't see as much recently. That's kind of interesting. Now, it could be for a cannon rush. It also could be that, well, HyuK is a very aggressive player, generally speaking, right? He's a player that will pull the trigger and just rush against you. So maybe that's part of what Stork is thinking here. But kind of funnily, it looks like HyuK gonna go ahead and make the hatchery at the third base. It's not going to be at the natural. And the natural is generally where we see people go for those cannon rushes. Now, the drone actually misses the probe block. The probe going to come in, see, okay, well, there's a hatchery somewhere. We didn't see it at the natural. It should have already been started. See the drone here again to harass him a little bit, get some hits. And he's going to go up towards that third base, I think, and find out that, okay, that is exactly where it's at. But basically, if he did want to cannon rush, if that was, in fact, the plan, the location of this hatchery has already thrown him off so much, I don't think it will occur, but yeah, he throws up his Nexus at home, and oh my god, this drone is actually getting so much damage onto the probe. You've got to be careful about that. Let's see if he actually, can he get behind? Now, don't forget, the rest of the drones are really far away, and that's kind of a big deal right there. If he had a second drone, he could hop a drone over to kill the probe, but he does not have that here. Oh my god. Forge Nexus cannon rush? Oh. I was like, how do you even do that? I've never seen anything like that in my life. And I guess I never will. He cancels that. It was a fake. HyuK, it seems, knew it. Much more on top of what can be occurring in this matchup than I, clearly. And does not even send a second drone. So Stork does the cancels and will continue to scout. But yeah, that's my guess, right? Is he wanted to cannon rush. HyuK put it in such a place that it kind of screwed up the whole build, and here we are, just getting into a regular Forge Fast expansion play. You know, I hope in these next games, because it is a best of 5, so we're going to get at least 3 games out of this, that we do see Stork go for some much later cannons overall, so that my little spiel at the beginning won't be found completely false. Okay, so almost 100 gas here for HyuK. Stork, of course, his build very, very standard. The type of build that we've seen a million times over. He's just going up the tech tree in a very linear path after that Forge expansion. Now, we have quite a bit of gas. Let's see. Okay, layer at the third base. Once again, utilizing that third base hatchery placement to try to trick Stork a little bit, right? You don't see the Hydralisk Den, you don't see the layer, and you know the gas is being spent. I mean, it could be speed, and in fact, it's speed as well. But he doesn't really have the intel, and now the probe is already dead. Now, a Zealot's coming out, so we'll see if it can actually get up the ramp. I'm quite certain that HyuK is going to send Zerglings over here to intercept, because you know that Stork wants a look. Because, like, for instance, if there's a Hydralisk Den here, he's so far behind, right? That would be terrible. Now, the Overlord, I think, caught the edge of the Zealot walking past, but the Zealot has actually turned around, and HyuK is waiting for that Zealot. Has an Overlord going to the north as well, but Stork pulls back. Now, he doesn't have that much intel right now. I'm actually starting to feel like this is the natural expansion in some ways was very, very strong this game. I guess at least against that Forge opening. There's just so much information has been denied to Stork. He's seen very, very little. His Forge expansion not really paying off. He doesn't have any scouts on the map. It looks like we're just going to wait for a Corsair. Lucky for him, there's not going to be any Hydras on the way as he flies out across the map, though. Third Zealot is out. Repositions his wall a little bit here. +1, about halfway done. We do have that Citadel coming up as well, so can get the legs going. Second gateway at that natural. Beautiful thing that we see from very top Protoss players. You want to be able to pop out units at the natural, not just in the main base, so you can make that emergency Archon if need be. All right, there's the leg upgrade and the first Corsair coming out. So now Stork gets that scout off. You see the Lings actually spread really well. HyuK has tons of map vision at the moment, sending his Lings up across the map as the Corsair goes past. He has a good idea of what Stork is up to right now. All right, Stork going to get in here, sees 2 hatch. Goes to the main base, sees the Spire. Okay, that gives him basically the information that he was looking for. Now he knows that it's not like a really quick Hydralisk Den with, you know, sometimes we do see that with quick layers. It's not as popular, though. Carapace on the way. So will HyuK be going into primarily flying units? Not sure quite yet. Now the Lings actually battling a little bit against this group of Zealots as it moves out. 2 cannons sitting back at home for Stork defensively. And as the Corsair gets its first kill, it will pull away before the Scourge are out to kill it. There are the first 2 Scourge. Now the Zealots coming out once again, dueling with those Lings. Almost +1 done. So the Ling's going to become very useless against them shortly here. Corsair's pulling back. Looks like he has about 3 right now. Continuing to build, though. Another cannon on the way. Traps a probe back here to stack those Corsairs with that Templar Archives also. And +1 is done. So these Lings will come up, and it is a lot of Lings, but with the +1, Stork can actually trade pretty darn well. Now, legs finishing here as well. Let's take a look. There's no static D as of yet. The Sunken Colony is on the way. Looks like he's going to skip that 3rd base location. Kind of goes into the middle of things, but obviously the Lings coming in from one side will get massacred. Now, here Stork goes towards that natural. Mutas are out at this point. Now, going after the Sunken, they'll be able to pop that very quickly. This small amount of mutas is not going to be able to fight all that well. Stork immediately engaging upon the Zerglings with his +1. He is absolutely wrecking face here. Destroys every single Zergling. He's already gotten the Sunken as well. Sees a ton of drones coming out. Knows that it is, in fact, Mutalisk tech. So now he can prepare at home a little bit better. We'll see if he throws up some more cannons. Definitely has a good Corsair fleet right now. +1 air attacks, a little over halfway done. And about 5 Corsairs, 6 Corsairs out right now. So that's pretty good. That's enough Corsairs to 2-shot a Scourge. And yeah, I mean, obviously you can destroy Mutas if they come up as well, but it's going to be Muta Scourge that HyuK is flying around with. It's like an Archon on the way here as well at that natural, like we were talking about. Very defensive location. Photon cannon going up in the natural mineral line. A pylon on the edge of the base to spot those incoming mutas. You gotta be careful overall with these Corsairs. You have to see everything coming in. Zergs at this point are so good at coming in with spread out Scourge fleets to try to pick off those Corsairs. And if they get them, you are probably gonna lose. Now the 8th Corsair going to be popping out shortly here. It's you're generally, I think you're looking for 9 Corsairs with +1 attack. Because that's where you start to one-shot Scourge. And that's where the Scourge really start to get wrecked. So he's got 8 right now. He does have the 9th building. Pylon at that 3rd base. Oh, I like it. I like how quickly he's trying to take the 3rd. Look at this. The gateway count is 6, which lends itself to a very quick 3rd base. He's got an Archon out here. He's got a couple Archons, in fact, and some Zealots. So he can absolutely destroy Mutas. But you can see the static D has been added in, right? 3 Sunkens here. 3 Sunkens here. You can't really attack in with Archons at that point. They take full damage from Sunks, so you will get just massacred. All right, so there's 8 Corsairs, and there's the 9th. It looks like he's stopped Corsair production, so not too surprised about that. Gonna run up here now into this 3rd base, but look at this. Okay, flies. Oh, the Corsairs actually get reduced greatly. Look at that. 3 get picked off immediately. You can see that Scourge control from HyuK. Incredibly strong here. Now, instead of just destroying everything with this army, there is that question. Can the Muta Scourge hold this off? Now, the Archon's coming up, going to get some swipes. Ooh, yeah, Archons, don't forget, they do huge damage. 33 Of course, 1-shot Scourge, 4 shots Mutas. You got to be very, very careful. This is such an anti-Mutalisk army, but we have Hydras on the way, right? The +1 range attack is halfway done. We have Hydra speed coming, so the big macro of Hydras is on the way, and then, of course, this army is going to be much weaker. Stork is going to need to get into Storm to fight against that. Now, more Zealots coming up before those Hydras pop. And here we go. He's actually coming up into this area. The Scourge. So many Scourge and Mutas going after these Corsairs. He's got to push them back right now. Look at this. Stork getting in on top of absolutely everything. This Corsair is going to continue to fly away while the Mutas come back. And you got to be careful not to get by those, the Archons. Does take a couple hits. And you can see the health on the Mutas falling off drastically. So many drones going down for HyuK here as well. Does end up taking down all of the Archons, so the Zealots will be dealt with very, very quickly from here. Still has his 11 Mutas, but did lose a lot of drones. In the meantime, Stork taking his 3rd base. And I gotta say, I feel like this is a pretty darn good game for Stork right now. He's getting into his Robo. He's got a very solid gateway count at 9. He's got his 3rd base up, some cannons there. The Mutas haven't done real damage, and he wiped the drones. You know, I feel like he did some very, very good things here. And he's still got enough Corsairs that it's going to be hard to snipe the High Templars with Mutas, especially with these very hurt Mutas. All right, here we go once again. Storm going off onto the Scourge, picking off quite a few of those. Another one just barely scratches the Mutas there. Oh, and he actually does get on top of the High Templars, picks them all off, not losing a single Mutalisk. Very, very well done, utilizing those Scourge to zone out the Corsairs. But now Stork is on the attack. These Mutas so low on health. The Corsairs trailing right behind them. Looks like he does want to push up this ramp, but staying at the ramp itself, the Zealots not getting good surface area against these Hydralisks with their +1 attack. Another fleet of Scourge coming out. The Archon going to get an insanely good hit right there. Knocks out all of those. The Muta's going across the map for some counter harassment here. But Dragoons starting to be produced as well. We don't have High Templars, though. Where are the High Templars? See a little wall going up to help these cannons. Decent amount of cannons, yes. Getting Dragoon range, okay. But we don't see any High Templars. I'm a little bit worried here for Stork. I think what we're seeing is just mass gateway units. He might be trying to just knock HyuK over here. But I'm not sure if that's going to end up working out for him. He does have +2 armor almost done. A few High Templars finally popping out as well. But yeah, really focusing more heavily on getting that Dragoon count up a bit. Dragoon range is going to be finishing up. He's going up to his 10th gateway. Looks like he's getting ready for a 4th base as well. And I got to tell you, this is really refreshing to see. Very few Protoss players actually like aggressively expand in this matchup. Of course, it's a very hard thing to do, but I feel like it's only a few players. Like I think that we see it out of Mini. Of course, he'll expand when he feels like the time is right, even though he does play a very aggressive style as well. We've been seeing it out of Stork here. I feel like Ruin is a player that we see it from occasionally. Maybe Mighty. But yeah, it's kind of cool to see that Stork is not that afraid of going into the later game, right? He's been outmaneuvered a couple times here with those Mutalisks so far, even though he had a good counter to them. But he's just continuing to get his upgrades. Kadarin Amulet coming, getting ready for that 4th base. But I gotta tell you, HyuK's getting really scary. He's got his 4th base up. He's putting down some great defensive with Lurker Sunken. Good spread of Hydras. It's going to be obviously adding a lot more Lurkers into this as well. The one thing to mention is we don't have a Queen's Nest or a Hive anymore, or at all. The Mutas, by the way, before I talk about that anymore, coming into the natural and actually getting some great harassment. The fact that he still has 11, despite the fact that 9 Corsairs were made and now he's replenished up to 8, is kind of crazy. Corsairs might end up catching them. Oh yeah, you see they come back in and the Corsairs, well, they came down here and then he attack moved, but some of them latched onto the Overlord, so a little bit painful there. Mutas get some decent damage done. Only 47 probes remain. Oh my god, and we have a gigantic attack coming in from Stork here at that 4th base location. Looks like he clears out all the lurkers very, very quickly. The Hydra's starting to come up. Some lurkers pop out, but I mean, there's an observer right here. There's plenty of Dragoons, and the army of Stork will destroy this base for HyuK. Flying back with these mutas. The mutas did a wonderful job, but now HyuK back down to 3 base. And I mean, he's on layer tech, 3 base against soon to be 4 base here from Stork. You gotta say that that's Stork favored. All right, the DT right now chasing these Hydras around a little bit. Oh, the Overlord gets saved, so he can push that back as well. Mutas flying back to do as mutas do. A lot more units flowing out here for Stork. Doesn't have that many probes in his main mineral line. The natural pretty well looking good right now. And, like, HyuK, I mean, he needs another base. It looks like he's going to retake this 4th. Obviously, this is one of the bases that's harder to hold. These bases can be turtled a little bit better with, like, sunken lurker and all that, but it will get you a little bit out of position to take them. And here comes the Stork army. Look at this thing. It is gigantic. He's got 117 army supply right now. The Hydras are spread in a beautiful arc. They do have +2 attack against the 1-2 upgrades of Stork. All right, here we go. Running in. Those Zealots doing a great job. A ton of lurkers are morphing, but they're not ready for this battle right now. Stork getting on top of this army. The Dragoons getting in and pushing forward their damage. A storm goes down. Gets dodged reasonably well here from HyuK. Another storm goes down, pushing the Hydras back. Corsairs coming in. And, well, it looks like the Hydras are getting mostly decimated, but we don't have any support for these Dragoons anymore, so you can't keep fighting with Dragoons in situations like this. One more storm, and that's going to be it. There it goes, and it's a good one for sure, but with, again, Dragoons can't really fight alone against Zerg. It's very rare situations where you can take any sort of fight where you run out of Zealots and Psy Storms. Like, they really need something else in there. Everything Zerg has does full damage to them, and they just don't shoot that quickly. So a great support unit. They can definitely be a linchpin of your army, but they need more. Now he backs up with these lots of cannons here at this base. See if he can hold on. The lurker is coming to this kind of like full range here. Dives on top of that High Templar with the remaining Mutalisks. The cannons, I mean, are doing a fantastic job of helping out here, but he does need to clear out these lurkers. They're putting some damage on the Nexus. Here comes the army of Stork. Up the ramp, he does have that observer to see this. Dragoons coming up from the side. Zealots getting on top. A beautiful side storm on top of those lurkers. What an action-packed game. Stork saves his 4th base. Getting some scouting intel done here as well. Uh-oh. Oh, no. Overlord Massacre. GG. Stork wins game 1.